Buckle up because we're diving headfirst into one of the most explosive moments in daytime television history. It all started on a seemingly ordinary Tuesday morning on ABC's The View, where the hot seat was about to get a whole lot hotter. Scarlett Johansson, the epitome of Hollywood glamour with her roles in everything from Black Widow to sultry indie flicks, graced the stage to promote her latest venture, a groundbreaking documentary on women's rights in the film industry. The co-hosts, ever the picture of poised commentary, welcomed her with the usual fanfare, Whoopi Goldberg cracking wise about Scarlett's ageless beauty, Sunny Hostin gushing over her activism, and Sarah Haynes beaming like she just won the lottery. But lurking in the wings was Joy Behar, the queen of unfiltered opinions, whose sharp tongue has sliced through more than a few celebrity egos over the decades. As the applause died down and Scarlett settled into her chair, sipping from a mug of what we can only assume was herbal tea to steady those nerves, the conversation flowed smoothly at first. Topics ranged from Scarlett's Oscar snubs, because who hasn't debated that? To her foray into directing, where she revealed juicy behind-the-scenes anecdotes from set that had the audience in stitches. Joy nodded along, her signature smirk playing on her lips, but those of us tuned in could sense the storm brewing. It was the kind of tension that crackles like static before a lightning strike, subtle yet undeniable. Scarlett, dressed in a sleek emerald green pantsuit that hugged her figure just right, exuded confidence, her blonde waves cascading perfectly as she gestured animatedly. The camera loved her, zooming in on those piercing blue eyes that have captivated millions. Little did anyone know, this promotional spot was about to devolve into a viral maelstrom that would rack up millions of views, spawn endless memes, and leave fans picking sides faster than a Marvel crossover event. And it all hinged on one innocent question about feminism in Hollywood, or so it seemed. As Joy leaned forward, her eyes narrowing like a hawk spotting prey, she lobbed the first grenade. Scarlett, honey, you've built this empire on being the sexy sidekick, but now you're preaching empowerment. Isn't that a bit like the fox guarding the henhouse? The studio gasped collectively, a ripple of unease spreading through the live audience. Scarlett's smile faltered for a split second, but she recovered with the poise of a seasoned pro, countering with a measured, Joy, empowerment isn't about who you were, it's about who you're becoming. I've evolved, just like this industry needs to. The exchange was polite on the surface, but underneath, pure dynamite waiting to ignite. Viewers at home started tweeting furiously, hashtags like #Scarlett vs Joy trending within minutes. Back in the studio, the other hosts tried to steer the ship, Whoopi interjecting with a joke about strong women uniting, Ana Navarro adding a nod to Latinx representation, but Joy wasn't done. Oh no, she doubled down, her New York accent thickening with each word. Evolved? Darling, you sued Disney over your Black Widow pay, then played the victim card. Real feminists fight quietly, not with lawyers and press releases. Scarlett's cheeks flushed, not with embarrassment, but with the fire of someone who's faced down aliens on screen and now real-life adversaries. The audience murmured, some applauding Joy's candor, others shifting uncomfortably. It was clear, the gloves were off, and this wasn't just chit-chat anymore. As commercial breaks loomed, producers whispered frantically off-camera, but the damage was done. Scarlett, ever the diplomat, attempted to pivot. Let's talk about the real issues, like equal pay for all women, not just the ones with agents. But Joy, sensing blood in the water, pressed on relentlessly. What followed was a verbal tango that escalated from pointed barbs to outright accusations, leaving every Nia from the crew to the coffee cart guy stunned. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, it did, culminating in the moment that would define Scarlett's legacy on The View forever. Fast forward through the awkward laughter and forced segues, and we're knee-deep in the heart of the clash, where tempers flared hotter than a summer in L.A. Scarlett, her voice steady but laced with steel, fired back, Joy, with all due respect, you've been commenting on Hollywood from your couch for years. Maybe it's time to step into the arena instead of throwing shade from the sidelines. The studio erupted, cheers from Scarlett's supporters, boos from Joy's loyalists, and a whole lot of stunned silence in between. Whoopi, the voice of reason, tried to mediate. Ladies, we're all on the same team here. fighting the good fight. But it was too late. The die was cast. Joy's face turned the shade of red that rivaled her signature lipstick, her hands gesturing wildly as she retorted, "Oh, please, I've been a feminist since before you were born, sweetheart. You think strutting in spandex makes you an expert?" Scarlett didn't flinch. Instead, she leaned in, her eyes locking onto Joy's with an intensity that could melt steel. "Expert? Number? Survivor? Absolutely. I've dealt with harassment, typecasting, and a system that chews up women like us and spits out the bones." The raw honesty hung in the air, thick and unyielding, forcing even the skeptics to pause. Social media was ablaze by now. Clips circulating on TikTok, Instagram Reels capturing every micro-expression, every pregnant pause. #Team Scarlett vs #Joy tells it like it is, with celebrities chiming in, Gal Gadot tweeting support for Scarlett's vulnerability, while Bette Midler quoted Joy's zinger with fire emojis. Back on set, the tension was palpable. Cameras rolled on, capturing gold for the producers, but at what cost? Sarah Haynes, wide-eyed, stammered a question about Scarlett's upcoming projects, desperate to salvage the segment, but Joy interrupted. "Projects? How about projecting some humility? Not everyone's journey is a redemption arc for your PR machine." Ouch. Scarlett's laugh was bitter, echoing through the microphones. "Humility? From the woman who wrote a book on why men are from Mars? Let's not pretend this is about feminism. It's about you not liking that I'm stealing your spotlight." Gasps rippled again, louder this time, as the audience divided like the Red Sea. Producers signaled frantically for a break, but Joy, in full form, waved them off. "No, no, let's keep it real. America wants authenticity, not this polished nonsense." Scarlett, rising slightly from her seat, her voice dropping to a whisper that boomed through the speakers, "Authenticity? Fine, here's real. I've earned every scar, every doubt, every win. Have you?" The question landed like a mic drop, silencing the room. In that frozen moment, you could hear a pin drop, or in this case, the distant hum of the audience's collective held breath. The other hosts exchanged glances, Whoopi mouthing woe under her breath, Sunny fanning herself with a cue card. It was electric, raw, the kind of television that doesn't happen by accident but feels divinely orchestrated for virality. As the segment teetered on the brink, whispers from the control room grew urgent to cut to commercial. Pull the plug? But no, they let it ride, because drama like this is the lifeblood of talk shows. And ride it did, straight into the abyss of uncharted territory, where one wrong word could end careers or launch legends. Scarlett's next move, a calm, collected dismantling of Joy's entire worldview, piece by pointed piece, leaving no sacred cow unslaughtered. The internet would never be the same. Now, let's peel back the layers of this showdown, where every syllable was a swing in a battle for narrative supremacy. Scarlett, channeling her inner Avengers Assemble, didn't just defend, she dissected. "Joy, your brand of feminism is gatekeeping at its finest, to telling women what they can and can't say, who gets to speak. That's not progress, that's patriarchy in pearls." The audience leaned forward, phones aloft, live streaming the carnage. Joy, undeterred, her Brooklyn bravado on full blast, shot back, "Gatekeeping? I'm protecting the movement from opportunists who dip in for the photo op and bail when the check's clear." It was a low blow, referencing Scarlett's past endorsements and brand deals, the ones that pay for those mansions in the Hamptons. Scarlett's retort was swift, surgical. "Opportunist? I've donated millions to causes you tweet about from your yacht. Check your facts before you fact-check me." Laughter erupted, nervous at first, then genuine, as the truth serum kicked in. Whoopi, seizing the moment, quipped, "Yeah, all are giving me life right now past the popcorn." But beneath the humor, the rift widened, exposing fault lines in celebrity culture, ageism, and the eternal tug-of-war between old guard and new wave. Viewers dissected every frame, Scarlett's poised posture versus Joy's animated flair, the subtle eye rolls, the unspoken alliances among the hosts. Anna Navarro jumped in, her accent adding spice. "As an immigrant woman, I say both of you bring fiery, we need it." But it was Scarlett who steered the ship next, pivoting to a heartfelt story about her early days, the auditions where she was told to smile more, talk less. Tears glistened. Not crocodile ones, but real, Born of relived pain, Joy softened for a beat, murmuring, "I get it, kid," but then ruined it with, "But tears don't erase the tabloid headlines." Boom, back to square one. The segment clock ticked mercilessly, 5 minutes over schedule, producers sweating bullets off camera, social feeds overflowed, memes of Scarlett as Black Widow choking out Joy's mic, edits syncing the argument to epic soundtracks, celebrities piled in awe, Emma Watson praising Scarlett's grace, Rosie O'Donnell defending Joy's longevity. It was a cultural moment, fracturing friendships and forging unlikely bonds online. As the heat peaked, Scarlett dropped the bomb, "Maybe The View needs fresh blood, not recycled hot takes." The implication? Joy's time was up. Joy's eyes widened, hurt flashing before fury. Fresh blood? You'd last 2 episodes before crying to your publicist. The barbs flew faster now, a verbal volleyball match with no net. Sunny tried diplomacy. "Let's talk solutions, not slaps." But solutions were the last thing on anyone's mind. This was catharsis, a public airing of grievances that had simmered for years in industry green rooms. And as the audience chanted "Scarlett, Scarlett," in pockets, the divide was stark. Producers finally intervened with a hard cut to break, but not before the fatal exchange that sealed Scarlett's fate. Joy, in a whisper, shout for the ages, "If you can't handle the heat, get out of my kitchen." Scarlett, standing tall, "Your kitchen? This is our table now." The screen faded to black, but the echo lingered, promising chaos upon return. Little did they know, the real fireworks were yet to come. Emerging from the commercial abyss, the atmosphere was thicker than fog on a San Francisco morning, charged, expectant, every eye glued to the unfolding drama. Scarlett, recomposed but radiating quiet storm, waited as the host settled, Whoopi kicking off with a plea for unity. "We're better together, ladies." But unity? That ship had sailed to Bermuda. Joy, emboldened by the break's pep talk from crew, went nuclear. "Scarlett, your empowerment doc? It's just another vanity project for awards bait. Real change happens in the trenches, not on red carpets." Scarlett's laugh was ice cold. "Trenches? You've got a cushy contract here, judging from afar. Try directing a film with half the budget because you're a woman." The specifics stunned Scarlett, naming names, calling out studios by initial, her insider knowledge a weapon sharper than any script. The audience sued, a wave of validation washing over her corner. Sarah, ever the peacemaker, suggested a group hug, but Anna countered, "Hugs after Hanushka, that's my jam." Laughter broke the ice momentarily, but Joy reloaded, "Insider, you're an outsider playing dress-up. I fought for Title IX when you were in diapers." Ageism reared its head, ugly and uninvited, turning personal. Scarlett, unflinching, "And I thank you for that foundation. But foundations crack, we build anew." Dismissing the next generation? That's how movements die. Profound, poetic, it landed with the weight of a manifesto. Twitter exploded a #build anew trending globally. Influencers remixing Scarlett's line into mantras. Backstage buzz reached fever pitch. Execs debated pulling the plug, but ratings spiked 300%, so onward they marched. Joy, cornered, lashed out, "Poetic, try plagiarize it from my book, no less." Accusation after accusation, each more desperate, eroding her high ground. Scarlett parried gracefully, "Your book inspired me to do better, say louder." Credit where due, magnanimity in the face of melee, it disarmed even foes. Whoopi nodded vigorously, "That's the T.S. billet sweet." But sweetness soured when Joy invoked Scarlett's personal life. "Divorces, affairs, to clean your own house before preaching." Low, lethal, the room hushed. Scarlett's face, a mask of controlled fury. "My house is glass, yours is fortified with NDAs. Let's keep it professional." The pivot was masterful, redirecting to systemic issues of pay gaps, harassment suits buried deep. Viewers nodded along, the argument transcending egos to illuminate truths. Memes evolved, Joy as Thanos snapping at Scarlett's infinity gauntlet of facts. Celebrities weighed in heavier, Oprah retweeting Scarlett's stats on inequality, Ellen defending Joy's tough love. It was a spectacle, a seminar disguised as skirmish, educating amid entertaining. As minutes bled into overtime, producers flashed red lights. A rapid, but Scarlett had one more card. Joy, This isn't about us, it's about every girl watching, dreaming big. Don't clip their wings with your cynicism. Tears again. This time Joy's. A crack in the armor. The host blinked, stunned. Cynicism? It's realism. Doll. But the dollop of vulnerability shifted gears. Sunny seized it. Realism with heart, that's us. Hopes for daytime flickered, but fate had other plans. A off-mic producer's voice leaked. Escort her out, and now the endgame approached. Swift and merciless, the tipping point arrived like a thunderclap in a library, a sudden, shattering, impossible to ignore. As Scarlett rapped her impassioned plea for intergenerational solidarity, Joy, voice trembling with a mix of rage and regret, delivered the coup de grace census. Solidarity? You are dividing us. You entitled starlet, get off my show if you can't play nice. The words echoed, venomous and viral, captured eternally by 100 camera angles. Scarlett frowns, the betrayal sinking in like ice water. Kicked off. Mid-segment, the audience buzzed, a hive of outrage and awe. Whippy, horrified, stammered, Joy, that's Noda, but Joy cut her off, standing abruptly. It's done. Security. Chaos ensued, crew scrambling, lights flickering as if in sympathy, Scarlett rising with dignity intact, her chair scraping like a final note in a symphony of strife. Security? For speaking truth? This is why change scares you, she hurled back, voice steady, eyes blazing. The escort arrived at two burly guys in black polos, apologetic yet firm, flanking Scarlett as she gathered her notes, phone beeping with incoming fire from her team. Joy, now the villain in her own narrative, collapsed into her seat, face ashen, muttering justifications to Sunny. She started it, but starters and finishers blurred in the melee. Cameras rolled on, merciless documentarians of the downfall, capturing Scarlett's exit, head high, a wave to stunned fans, her pantsuit a banner of resilience. Outside the studio, paparazzi swarmed like locusts, flashes popping as she slid into a waiting SUV, expression unreadably triumph, trauma, both. Inside, the hosts dissolved into damage control, sorrow tearing up, Anna pacing, Whippy calling for a prayer circle. We blew it, Sunny whispered, the weight of fractured sisterhood heavy. Meanwhile, the world ignited, a clips hitting YouTube within seconds, racking views like a rocket launch. Hash kicked off the view tops charts, petitions for Joy's apology flooding change.org, fan art depicting Scarlett as Joan of Arc storming the barricades. Brands paused endorsements, agents dialed frantically, the ripple effect seismic. Scarlett's camp released a statement, disappointed but undeterred. The conversation continues off-air, cryptic, classy, fueling speculation. Joy, in a post-show huddle, reportedly broke down, I didn't mean. She just, but means and regrets don't undo. Mix hot. Late-night hosts pounced, Colbert mocking The View from the exit door, Kimmel reenacting with puppets. It was schadenfreude supreme, yet poignant at two icons clashing over ideals, egos the unfortunate collateral. As night fell on New York, bars buzzed with debates. Was Joy protecting her turf or speaking truth? Scarlett the disruptor or diva? Memes multiplied. Johansson photoshopped onto the Titanic Expo, Behar as the iceberg. Celebrities split allegiance. J. Law backing Scarlett's badassery. Jane Fonda urging Joy to lean into the lesson. The fallout promised reckonings, sponsor pullouts, internal probes, perhaps even a tell-all special. But amid the noise, a silver lining glimmered. A women's issues thrust into spotlights brighter than Broadway. Scarlett, en route to her hotel, texted collaborators, turned lemons into lore, resilient, revolutionary. And as the SUV merged into traffic, horns blaring like applause, one truth endured. This clash wasn't the end, but an explosive beginning for dialogues long overdue. The View would never look the same, nor would we watching from home, forever changed by the firestorm of two fearless voices colliding in prime time. In the aftermath's glow or glare, depending on your feed, the saga of Scarlett vs. Joy morphed from breaking news to cultural cornerstone, dissected in think pieces from Vanity Fair to Vox. Days later, apologies trickled, Joy's on-air mea culpa, tear-streaked and sincere, admitting heat of the moment overreach, inviting Scarlett back for round two with mixed muted, laughter lines softened the scar, but trust, Fractured like fine china, Scarlett, from her LA perch, accepted with grace. Let's rebuild the bridge, not burn it. Interviews poor Dina Scarlett on Oprah's couch unpacking the pain, revealing therapy sessions triggered by the public pillory, her vulnerability a beacon for fans grappling similar slings. Joy, reflective in podcasts, confessed envy of Scarlett's youthful fire, a rare peek behind the bluster. The View ratings soared, then stabilized. Hosts reshuffled in a bid for balance, seeing new blood like a rising comedian to inject levity. Sponsors returned, wary but wooed by the buzz. Social media evolved, from vitriol to vignettes, users sharing stories of their own clashes. #clash to cash trending as merch drop. Eat a t-shirts emblazon "Get Off My Show" in ironic solidarity. Scarlett stock premiered to acclaim, box office boosted by the brouhaha, critics praising its unflinching gaze. A nod to the on-air unflinching. Joy guested on Late Night, turning lemons to laughs. "I kicked her off, honey. I couldn't kick a habit." Self-deprecation disarmed detractors. Behind scenes, reconciliations brewed at a private dinner. Whispers of co-hosting a special on empowerment, turning foes to frenemies. Fans forgave, forgetting not the fight but the fervor it ignited. Broader waves crashed. Hollywood panels on safe spaces for discourse. Studios auditing diversity clauses post-pay gap callouts. Scarlett launched a foundation, Table Talk, funding young directors' voices. Joy as honorary chair of Full Circle Poetry. Memes faded, but moments lingered. That stare-down gif, eternal in reaction videos. Years on, it'll be lore, retold in bios and bars. The day daytime TV dared real talk, risking all for authenticity. Lessons abounded to listen before lashing, evolve or evaporate. Unity and discord's dance. Scarlett emerged phoenix-like, roles rolling in, a biopic on trailblazers. Her directorial debut greenlit. Joy, sage status solidified, penned a sequel, From Mars to the View clashes and comebacks. Together, unwittingly, they humanize the hustle, proving icons bleed, bend, but rarely break. And we, the audience, grateful witnesses to magic in the mess, reminded that progress isn't polite, it's passionate, profane, profoundly necessary. So here's to the clashes that catalyze, the kicks that kindle, the views that evolve. Fade to credits on a chapter closed, but the conversation, eternally open, echoing in every empowered yes to come. What a ride, what a revelation, what a riveting reminder. In the arena of ideas, no one's ever truly kicked off if they're just passing the mic.